Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Sensei from Ride Fit Nation. Today we're going to be installing the traction engine case guards. That's model number, I'll tell you the model number is for the GL 1800 2018 and up. It's 18GLT ECG. It is from Traction Dynamics. Now, the guard, it looks just like this. It looks like a plate that goes, if you have a Harley Davidson, you know the plate that you put in the bottom of your tour pack? That's pretty much what this reminds me of, but this goes on the bottom of your bike. I have a 2024 Honda Goldwing, and the bottom is completely opened up. There's no protection for the motor casing. So the engine case, the thing we don't want to do is hit a bump, maybe something goes flying up and just breaking it. So if you have a Goldwing and you do not have this installed in the bottom, I'm gonna suggest for you to install it. And this is a patent number D1004489. You know, this is a really good invention made from Traction. I believe the gentleman's name is Max. I'll get his name. I met him one time at Southern Honda Power Sports. Really nice guy, but I'll put all his information across the screen so you can reach out to him and get your stuff done. All right, so without further ado, let's get this thing popping. All right, guys, let's talk about what comes in this pack here. Okay, it's a very simple setup. So you have these bolts right here. Let me tilt the camera down a bit. We have 4 of them, okay? There are 2 that is long and 2 that is shorter. So just keep that in mind. They're gonna come in handy. Then we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of those bolts. And then you have these brackets, which marks left and right, front and rear. This is for the rear outside. That means that this is gonna face outwards, okay? That means that's gonna go out. And then this one is for the front outside. And then of course, I showed you guys the actual plate. And this also comes with the instructions, which is pretty simple. It tells you what the screws are. The bracket with 4 holes goes in the front. So remember, this one, it says at the front, and the 4 holes are 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? And then it says the shorter bolts are used for the front bracket. So the shorter bolts are these, which gives you, because remember, see, there's a difference in size. All right, so the short ones are for the front, the big ones are for the back. Then it says, you have to torque it down to 18 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench, please get yourself a torque wrench. You can go to Home Depot, you can go to Ace, or you can go to Harbor Freight. It doesn't matter, all right? And you could also watch the installation video from the traction engine case, for the traction engine case guard. So this is the piece that comes with it, and it's not hard, but we're gonna have to remove a couple of things, all right? So I'm gonna have to take off, loosen up my floorboard, highway pegs to get this to go down, because we're gonna have to remove this to get to the stuff in the front. You see what I mean, okay? So if you have your highway pegs on here, and let's say you never installed it, well, let's talk about how to get this thing off. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my, I believe it's a 6 millimeter hex head, and I'm gonna loosen this up, okay? When I loosen this up, this is just gonna drop down. That way it's completely out my way and I get access to this, all right? And then right here, there is a bolt here. This is a 5 millimeter, and we're gonna break this bolt, all right? And you're gonna do the same thing for both sides. Next thing, I'm in the very front of the bike. There's also a bolt here as well, same size. Now, keep this in mind. These bolts, they're different. Take your time. You're gonna pick this cover off. This cover does not take a long time to come off. This cover just comes off. Put that cover down to the side. And we're gonna get inside of this. There's also another bolt here. And once we get that off, then we'll be able to get everything else off. There we go. I like getting used to working on this bike. It's completely different than me working on my Harley Davidson. Completely different. But I love it. There you go. I got underneath it just to get it off. All right. Let's keep it going. All right, so from the front bike, we're gonna take this again, to take off these 2 front bolts to take off this light cover. All right, this is a 5mm hex. All right, and then I'm gonna take that, put it down to the bottom, and then take the bottom one off. Here we go. All right, so now we have bolt right here. And then on this other side, we have another bolt right here. I'm just gonna get this one off. And then I'll get this one. I'm facing the bike, I'm on the left side, so it's right here, you see it. I put my finger inside of this, just like this, and I give it a little pressure, and it pulls out, okay? And it snaps right out. So now, let's see if I got this piece here, this side. And I like to get on the bottom, because when I get on the bottom, for some reason, I can see more of what I'm doing. One thing I can tell you is you can't be in a hurry with this. All right, so I'm on the front of the bike. Right here's the front. The reason why we took off all of this is to get to this bolt right here, okay? This is an 8mm, and we're gonna break this loose. Not break it literally, but we're gonna break it loose because we wanna get this off so we can access the front. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, guys. Same thing. So I don't even need to record it. You know what? I am gonna record it. Let's just go across. Let's not be lazy. And I'm just gonna use my little power drill to just break it a little bit. Get this out. Break that first. All right, so basically, these pieces fit right into each other, right? Just so you can see how we took it off. So if you forget how it goes, then you know that it's gonna go just like this. Hold on, like a puzzle, just like that. All right, so I just pulled it off. Pull it down, and I'm gonna move that to the side. That way that gives me access to these bolts. Now, the bolts that we're looking for is 1 and 2. Let's find what size socket that is. All right, it's a 13mm. I don't know why I said 30. All right, so now, the next thing on top of that is you have to look at your piece that I showed you earlier, the one that said front outside, and you got to get the bolts. Remember, it said in the directions, which is right here, it says the shorter bolts are used for the front bracket. So let's get the shorter bolts together, and we're going to remove these brackets. This is for you don't want to touch the middle one, because that middle one is you're going to let out a whole lot of oil for no reason. So do not touch the middle one, and only touch this one, 1 and 2. And the front is gonna go just like this. Yep, guaranteed it's a 12mm. And I'm gonna use an extended socket. Man, this stuff is fun. This stuff is fun. Okay, there we go. Now we talking. Ooh, that's tight. Okay, we got that. And let's get this one. There we go. So we're taking these bolts out, and we're gonna replace these bolts with the ones that came with it, okay? So you see the difference in that. You see the difference in size, okay? That's what she said. Just remember not to touch the middle one. The middle one is minding its own business. It doesn't want to be touched. You have a bolt right here. You're not gonna touch the middle one, and you're gonna go to this one, all right? So those bolts is what you're gonna take off. I'm gonna hold the camera, and I'm gonna attempt, so excuse the camera being shaky and all the other stuff. So we're using a 12mm socket, All right, and we're gonna break this. We're gonna take this out, and then we're gonna do the same thing for this one right here. Remember, don't touch the middle one. Ooh, that's tight. Hold on a second. I need to use both hands. All right, there we go. Got it broken. Pull this out. Guys, this is a must. I'm telling you. I'm gonna show you the casing underneath here, and I'm surprised that Honda didn't just make this as a part of the bike already, but they didn't. All right, so we're now on the other side, okay? The rear outside, okay? So I'm gonna put this over here just to make sure everything lines up pretty well. I'm gonna screw this down. I'm just gonna hand tighten. I'm not trying to torque anything down right now because I want to make sure that this stuff fits the right way. Okay, I never did this install before. It's my first time, so I like to make sure that it's right. There we go. All right, excellent. All right, so this is rear outside. So you see how it marks? So that's gonna go underneath the plate. All right, so I'm in the front area, and you will know if you have this the wrong way because the bolts won't line up properly, okay? And the reason why I didn't want to tighten this down so much is because I needed to have enough free play that way I could move this around just in case I need to make any small adjustments. Like everything else, you know, you don't want to tighten everything down, especially when you don't know if it's going to align properly. You don't want to strip it. The second you feel it grabbing, that's pretty much where you need to be. Even though I tightened this down a little bit, I just want to make sure that everything is there and I didn't forget anything, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going hard on the pressure here. Right, that's what I want. And I'll do the same thing for this one. Nice. All right, I'm gonna get my torque wrench and we're gonna torque this thing down, those big bolts, we're gonna torque them down to 18 foot-pounds. All right, so I'm just gonna tighten these down. And then I'll torque it down after. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing for the rear. For the back one after I get the front. All right, doing a torque sequence of 18 foot-pounds. There we go. This is for that click. Got that click. All right, let's go to the rear. Same thing for the back. Hopefully you can see me. But it's the same exact thing you just saw. The rear is a little tricky because, like I said, I do not have my center stand. There you go, I got my click. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put this on the stand to get this back one because what happens is that this is a longer torque wrench and I won't be able to get the angle. All right, now let's get this front back on, that piece that we took off, okay? We got the bolts in, everything is torqued down. Make sure you torque it down to specs as recommended. So all I'm gonna do now is get into one position and remember what screw goes to what. that's a wrap for me. I'm so happy the install is done. I'm gonna fine tune my highway pegs, because I had to loosen that up. But you can put this pretty much where you want to put it, but it's all about being mindful of your turns, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, listen, if you're thinking about getting yourself that gold wing and you've been contemplating it, you've been feeling kind of iffy about it because you're afraid of what people are gonna say, maybe you have a Harley but you want to get a gold wing, or maybe you don't have any motorcycles and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, I'm gonna tell you to test ride the bike. Test ride the bike. Reach out to my peoples at Honda, Southern Honda Power Sports in Tennessee. Check them out. I understand you might be a little further than them, but it's going to be worth your time, because once you mention Sensei, Ride Fit Nation, or Gold Rush Nation, they will know who you're talking about. Sensei, just remember Sensei. This is my bike. If this is your first time coming to the channel, this is my brand new bike. I just bought it. Okay, this is Jackal. That's the name of this bike, is Jackal. And the install that I just did, like I said, a lot of people say that these bikes are not customizable. They're very, very customizable. You can get lights, you can get rims, you can get floorboards, highway pegs, you can get windshields, you can get all kinds of stuff on this motorcycle. All right, anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope it's helped you out. If you do not have that stuff for your bike, that bottom engine guard, get it, guaranteed. Get it now. Peace. By the way, Southern Honda Power Sports, they sell it. Peace.